In this lesson we'll create the shader for the knife handle. So this is going to be wood, so again we'll select our selection set here, the knife handle selection, just click on it and use your down arrow key and you'll see that the faces are selected, and then we're going to go to lighting and shading again, assign favorite material, and we're going to go to AI standard. We'll just call that knife handle. Okay, so the thing about wood is you need a good texture for the color, and it's going to be quite high contrast, so it's going to have lots of darks and lights in it, and it's going to be quite similar to the to a metal, except we're going to have quite a lot of contrast in the color as well. So first thing we'll do is let's just open up a render view. Okay, and just need to change my gamma again. 2.2, okay, and I'm just going to make sure that we've still got this on test resolution of 75 so that we get a nice big render. And then let's do a region. Just click on that button there and just pick that region. So now you can see that that shader has been assigned. As you can see, it's slightly different color. And let's just zoom in. You can see if it's on 100% here. There we go. Okay, so let's adjust the shader now. If we go to diffuse, and we're going to map the color first of all. So we're going to map this color with a file again, and then come up to the image name, and we'll just click on the knife wood color TIFF. Knife wood color TIFF, and this is what it looks like. You can see it's pretty high contrast, and I'm just going to say open. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then what I'll do is I'm going to the weight is perfectly fine, so that's actually not bad as a kind of a quite a rough rustic wood. But I wouldn't mind some specular on there, a little bit of shininess, just to bring out the details and make it look a bit better. So what I'm going to do is come down to specular, and then we're going to adjust this. So first thing we'll do is just turn it up a little bit, and then you'll see some shininess coming in there. So if you were just to see that, just let that update. Okay, so that's what it looks like with just the weight turned up a little bit, and the roughness is on 0.46, so you can see it's quite rough. So if I was to turn it down, you'd get a sharper reflection here, get sharper highlight. So you can see that's what it looks like with a sharper highlight there. If we wanted it to be wider, we could turn that up. Okay, so that's the width of the highlight. Okay, so I'm just going to update the scene here. View, update full scene. It doesn't look like the color of the texture is being shown properly, so I'll just update that. It should be darker than that. That's better. Sometimes the color management doesn't work, so you do have to update the render. So you do update full scene, and then when you're dealing with textures, that will update the textures. So now we've got a richer color there. So what you can see now, if we just go to the specular and just turn this down to 0, that's the color that you should have. So when we add a little bit of specular on there, you can see it makes it a little bit brighter. Okay, so what we're going to do is once we have a bit of specular on there, you can see that it makes it kind of look very shiny and, you know, a perfect sort of thing. So we need to break up that shininess with another map. We're going to map the weight with the texture, and the reason we're not mapping the color is because I don't want this to be colored. It will look more like metal if it's a colored reflection. I just want the reflection to be the regular color that it comes in as, but I just want to break it up so that it's darker in some places and lighter in others. So if I map the weight, that doesn't have a color, it's only one number, so it can only be darker or lighter, it can't be a color. So if I map this with a file, I'm going to use the same file, which is the the knife wood color. So this same one is high contrast. So what I'll do is that's not going to look correct. So what we can do is come down in the texture, And if we come and tick this little checkbox which says alpha is luminance, at the moment the computer is just looking for an alpha channel, and this file does not have an alpha channel, so it's just gone completely white. So what we need to do is turn on alpha is luminance, and it's going to take this image and use the luminance of this image and use that as the alpha channel. So if we turn that on now, we should see it a little bit better. And if we update this again, let's just update full scene. And we need to turn the color down, way down. Okay, so now we should see some breakup in the texture. Let's just turn the roughness up a little bit and maybe the color down a little bit. So you use the color to choose how much reflections it's got. So if you don't want many, you can just turn it up a little bit, just so it's got a little bit of something there. Okay, I don't think that's working. That's turned off again, so turn it off. That's better. Okay. So look at the difference between that. You can see there's reflections all along here, and that, where you can see that there's only a few reflections in certain places. That's what we want. Okay, so just to clarify, in here we've mapped the color. So we've mapped this texture, which is called knife wood color, and in that texture we come down to alpha is luminance. We turn that on so that we use the black and white value. So we turn this into a black and white image, and we use that as the weight map. Okay, so if I come back here and just turn this up a little bit, you'll see that the reflections only appear in certain places, and you can see that there's scratches and things on the knife now, all the way along here. So that makes it look a little bit more used. Also, the specular highlights define the shape of the object, as you can see, so it just makes it look a bit nicer. You could even turn that up a bit more if you wanted to, and it's still going to be broken up because it's got a nice texture on there. So you can see it's still broken up there. So I might just turn it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So just to summarize, we've mapped the diffuse with a color texture, the wood color texture, and we haven't changed the weight of it. And then in the specular, we've kept the roughness on a rough value of 0.42. Okay, and then we've mapped the weight with a color. So the way we turn the reflections up and down is to use the color, and we just slide that up and down. You can tint it if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that right now. I want to have the natural color of the reflections on there.